We're here at Eastern Michigan University in Ypsilanti, talking today with Roy Wilbanks. We are about to come upon the 25th anniversary of Eagle Crest Golf Club here in Ypsilanti and the resort. Roy, you are getting ready to have a great honor bestowed on you. When you heard about this, Roy, just give me what your first thoughts were when you found out that they were going to do this for you.
Well, I think obviously working in the public sector like I have for so many years, you realize that things like this happen just once in a while. So it was obviously an elation that I felt. It was an exhilaration. In some ways I felt that it was a reward for the whole body of work that I had done during my time at Eastern Michigan University. And as I said, I think in the public sector, this may be the greatest honor that you can give to someone who works in the public sector by naming a facility after them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Roy, take us back. Let's have a little history lesson on Eagle Crest Golf Club. When the vision of yours came about, what you did to get it started. Maybe talk about some of the players that were involved in helping you get this off the ground.
Well, the vision kind of came, as a matter of fact, with we had a float boat out here in Ford Lake with my friend Gary Owen and George Bodette. And we were on there and looking at this piece of property, which was all wooded area at the time with the elevations, and thinking that would be a real nice golf course. This was in the very early 80s. So, you know, you kind of talk about something and it kind of goes away with you. Then in 1983, I became employed at Eastern Michigan University under President John Porter, and he wanted to build a golf course around, a 9-hole golf course around the stadium, much to like Bowling Greens is. And so I was working on him to get him to have a little broader vision, if you will, about what we could do here. Secondly, we had a very successful contract learning program in our College of Technology. And we were doing a lot of contract learning with corporations and industry, and we needed a home for that. That's how we got to the Corporate Education Center. So those two things kind of came together as one piece: a quality golf course with a conference center and building a first-rate hotel. We were really interested in creating a vision, if you will, for Eastern Michigan University as well as the Ypsilanti community that could create a dramatic impact on the way people felt about the university as well as the community. And I think the history is, or you know, the future will judge, has this been successful in doing that. You know, my feeling after 25 years and working on it for over 30 years, I think we've done that. I think people come here and they're amazed, they're impressed. It's really important what we think, but also we have gotten rave ratings. There was just an article in one of the golfing magazines about the best university courses in the country. And while we were not in the top 10, we were rated number 14, and they called us the best resort in southeastern Michigan. So those kind of accolades coming from external people, I think, is more of a validation of what we've done here. Sometimes we tend to shoot ourselves in the foot locally.
Well, I had a chance about 2 weeks ago to go to North Carolina and talk with Bill Shelton, who is my father, but is also President Emeritus of Eastern Michigan University, the 18th, at 1989, the year Eagle Crest opened. And we got on the phone with Jim Applegate, and we're talking to Jim a little bit about his involvement in the course and whatever. And he said from time to time there were a few challenges, and he thought from time to time it was going to be a coin flip whether this really ever got off the ground. What do you remember about those challenges? What were some things that got in the way or just became hurdles for you as you tried to put this project together?
Well, in higher education, I think it's very difficult to try to do anything that goes outside of the mission of the university, which, as you know, is instruction and research. So when you get to do something that's kind of entrepreneurial and you're trying to create something that is a broader impact than what goes on the campus, it's very difficult. But some of the challenges were, and you mentioned Jim Applegate and your dad. Of course, your dad was here when we opened in '89. But Applegate did a rendering, much of this nature here, when we went on a alumni trip down. President Porter and I went down to Florida, and Jim Applegate hosted an event for alums in that area. And at that time is when we laid out the first blueprint of what Eagle Crest could be. That was a big challenge. The second challenge was, I think, very difficult challenge, is we wanted a signature name on the golf course. And Gary Player and Jim Applegate were forging a relationship. So Gary Player agreed to come in and make some changes to the golf course and put his signature on the golf course. Well, once again, in higher education, you never know what's going to come next. But if you recall, it was the same time that the United Nations had passed a resolution to not do business with South Africa because of apartheid in South Africa. So some of our more liberal students on campus began to demonstrate against having Gary Player's name on this course. I'll never forget the day they came out and they destroyed some property, and it made the USA Today paper. Gary Player read it in Australia and came back to Applegate and says, "You got to get me out of this." And so Jim called me and said, "Gary wants to withdraw his name." And I said, "Thank you." That will be just fine, because that's how controversial it was, and even President Porter was getting some heat at the time and was not comfortable with it. So that was a very difficult time. And then other than that, just putting the project together was an unbelievable challenge. This is originally was a $40 million project, and trying to put a hotel financing in place in the late 1980s was difficult as the hotel industry was plummeting. So we kind of kept working at it, and finally, when we started the construction of the golf course, then the developers were able to get financing for the hotel. But that's the way the hotel came about. Had we not started the construction of the golf course, in my opinion, we probably would not be here today.
Over the past 25 years, the course has been open. I know, Roy, you've been around, maybe a little bit to Florida, but mostly back home here in Ypsilanti. How have you seen the course grow, change? That maybe I wouldn't say was beyond the vision that you had, but some things just happened to come about. What good things have you seen change at Eagle Crest?
I think the most important thing we've done here is opening up the view of all the water around this. And when we went through our process of hiring a golf course designer, one of the things that the designer told us, as well as the people from MarriottGolf.com told us, was your natural beauty here is the lake, and you can't see it. And so we started taking out trees so that we would expose the lake. Well, then Ypsilanti Township comes in and says, "You can't take those trees out, that's our property," which it is their property. But we also have some rights to manage the property in our lease agreement with the township. I mean, this is all very complicated stuff, but it just kind of works its way out over time. And fortunately, I know the people on the township board. I sat on the township board for 10 years, so I have some experience with that process. But those kinds of challenges just seem to continue to prop up. Right now, I believe, as we look to the future of Eagle Crest, it's the best position it's been in. We have great partners in the hotel. We have our goals aligned, our strategies are aligned, and we both can make a operation. In the hotel's case, they'll make a little money. The university's case, we want to have a first-rate project that is self-supporting and doesn't get any revenue sources from the university.
What about working with the university, whether it be academic programs, the athletic programs? How have you seen that develop in the past 25 years, and what do you think maybe some future opportunities for that to continue to grow?
Well, I think probably the most significant thing in working with the university is, of course, this is the home to the men's and women's golf team, which is from talking to the golf coaches, this really gives them a leg up in their recruiting process to bring great talent here. We recently won, as Brad, I know you played at Kent down there, but we won 2 MAC championships back to back. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Well, yes, unfortunately I am, yes.
So it has been a real boom for both our men's and women's teams. Are usually rated between 75 and 100 in the country. So once again, for a school like Eastern, that's a great progress. We also have physical education classes here. So the students are able to come out and learn about golf from instructors at the university. I think when we look to the future, one of the things that I would like to see us do is to create a better linkage between our hospitality management program at the university and this project out here. So that's an opportunity for us. The other opportunity that I keep pushing, I don't know if I'll be here or not, Jack, when they finally get this one, but I really think this would be an ideal spot to have what I call a Big MAC tournament. 5 teams from the Big Ten, 5 teams from the MAC, have men's and women's, put them up at the hotel, get McDonald's to sponsor it, and I think we could hit a home run with that. So that's something that I keep talking to the golf coaches about. And maybe the new people now that are in charge of this place will see that happen.
Well, we're getting ready to have the dedication this week. Have you had a chance to sit down yet and prepare your remarks and give some thought to what you're going to say?
I have not. I have not. But I will in the next few days. I look at this as an honor, and it's a big deal to me, and I think mostly a big deal for my family. We live in Ypsilanti. I have 4 brothers, 2 sisters, mother and father. So, we're a big family, and we've all lived in Ypsilanti. We all went to Ypsilanti High School, and we have a great commitment to the community. And so I am very proud for myself and my daughter and my grandkids. But I think for my family, the Wilbanks family, and the time and commitment that we put into Ypsilanti, this will be a big deal.
Well, I did have a chance, as I said, in North Carolina about 2 weeks to go down and speak with Dad, Bill Shelton, the president that was here at the time. And he had some special words he wanted to say to you that I captured on video. Well, Dad, it's been a pleasure actually to be the lead interviewer when usually we do shows together. You are the lead interviewer. But the way I'd like to end the show today, as opposed to just signing off, I'd like for you to say a couple of personal words to Roy as he celebrates this dedication of the clubhouse to him, the 25 years that Eagle Crest has been open, and what you feel it has meant to you during your presidency, what you feel like it's meant to the community. A couple of personal words for Roy.
Well, Roy, you may still have a few scars from the battles that you had to fight during that time, but I think that you probably can't even understand how much it has meant to the university and to the community of Ypsilanti that you were willing to take the leadership in this extraordinary activity, and what a difference it's made in that community and in that university. And I only can say to you that I am proud. I want to be honest with you, Roy. I probably would not have had the nerve or the courage or whatever it might be to launch such an ambitious project. You did. And this recognition is long overdue and well-deserved. Thank you for what your contributions have been to Eastern Michigan University and to the Ypsilanti community.
Yeah, your dad and I, as you know, are good friends, and we've maintained contact since he left the university. I've been down to his place in East Carolina. He's been down to my place in Florida. We've played golf. Haven't done it in the last couple of years as we both get older, harder to travel. But a very good friend who provided great leadership at the university in a very tumultuous time, as Art would say. I think anyone who's been around Eastern was very difficult times. And Eastern is a tough job anyway, but your dad did a very good job of providing leadership at a very difficult time.
Roy, there have only been 3 pros here, and in 1989, the gentleman that I knew very well, that obviously you knew very well, became very much part of this place, Tom Pendlebury, was here. Tell us a little bit about Tom, where he came from, what the selection process was, and what he did really to jumpstart this project at its very beginning.
Yeah, Tom is a friend. He will be here Friday, playing Friday, and I'm looking forward to seeing him and chatting with him again. We got Tom Pendlebury through a national search. And he was director of recreation in the city of Reno, of which Reno had 2 golf courses, which was a direct report to his office. And so from that, he is a U of M grad from Windsor, Canada, played both hockey and golf at University of Michigan, and he kind of wanted to get back into the area. So he applied for the job and went through a pretty exhaustive interviewing process. As you can imagine, it was a pretty exciting job for PGA pros. But one of the things that won him over, he had some experience in the construction of golf courses. And Tom came during the construction phase. So he was out here every day with Mark Caverly, who was the contractor for the golf course, and making sure that they were following the specs and designs of the routing plan that Carl Litton had designed for us. So been here from the very start. I think he was with us close to 20 years.
It is our great pleasure to be joined by Tom Pendlebury, better known to me as Boomer, from a number of years back at Eagle Crest Golf Resort.
Honor for Roy is such a deserving thing because there's not enough accolades for what he has done for the community, for the Eastern Michigan University and for the area. His heart and soul is into every project, and as you can see, this is just one of them that he has been actually has his footprint on, and so I'm great to see it, and it's a great honor to be here.
Roy, you said it was a $40 million project, and this is back in the mid-late 80s and the difficulty of financing. Talk a little bit about the funding process. I know that's not always easy in higher education and getting a project like this approved during those kind of times.
Well, I always told President Porter that the vision was a hell of a lot easier to do than the funding. So the funding really came about. The hotel was about a $24 million project, and the golf course and the corporate education center was $14 million. And President Porter said, geez, that's a great idea, Roy, but we're not going to give you any money. So you got to put the money package together. So we started on putting the package together, and we were pretty successful. We were very fortunate in our legislators at the time. We had very powerful legislators, and certainly the main guy that helped us was Gary Owen. The first grant we got was from the Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund, which was for $1.2 million that actually bought the property. But you talk about challenge. The university wasn't eligible to get money from the Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund. So the township applied for the grant, got the money for the land, and then leased it to us 99 years for $1. So that's how that came about. But as we put the funding package together, I would just say this: we had much help out of the Speaker's office. We had federal money in here. We had an Urban Development Action Grant of $2 million, which was the largest award that year out of Congress for a non-urban project. And then we got some small cities block grant money. And then we had money from the big three: Ford Motor Company, General Motors, and Chrysler all donated money to this project. So it was a very creative financing project. The university did end up doing a $3 million bond that I'm happy to say is paid off now. So this is totally debt-free, this whole project out here to the university. So that kind of creative funding. And then funding for the hotel was difficult, and I traveled about anywhere the developers wanted me to state our case about what we were going to do at the university. And so eventually they were successful in funding the hotel. This now, I would have to say, this is the fourth owner of the hotel. And so we're still here.
Roy, originally when the project was designed, if I remember, it was a Radisson Hotel, Radisson Resort project. It's now the Marriott, a very beautiful hotel with the conference center. How has that affected Eagle Crest and the relationship between the university and Marriott and the piece of property?
Well, I think it's critical, and it's always difficult when you have two owners on such a small piece of property. But getting the Marriott in here was, I think, huge for the project. And Mass Mutual, who, as I indicated, was like the fourth owners of the hotel, and they had good contacts with the Marriott, so they brought the Marriott in. What Marriott brings to the project, obviously, is a very name brand hotel of upscale proportions. And the Marriott 1-800 number generates so many rooms wherever the Marriott's at. And so that's why the Mass Mutual felt it vital to have them in this project. They being the owners, wanted to be in there because this is a nice resort project, and they wanted to manage a resort project. So Marriott has been very helpful in doing that. And I think the key thing that we were looking at from our perspective is we want to be on the MarriottGolf.com website. If you go into the website, there's only, the MarriottGolf.com people told us there's like maybe 60 different courses they have in 40 different countries type of a thing. So it's a big deal to get on that. We would like to be on that. It is a part of our agreement we have with the hotel now that they will pull out every effort to get us on the MarriottGolf.com property. That would be, once again, it would just be a validation of the project and the quality of the golf course and the quality of the hotel if we can get that designation. And it is in our agreement with the hotel that they will do that. So we're hoping that that gets done.
Roy, I really appreciate your time today. And certainly as a golfer, as somebody who lived in this area, who still has ties in this area, it's certainly a wonderful project. I never missed any opportunity I had to come play. I know we played a few times together out here, and certainly an honor long overdue. if I could say that.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, Brad, and as you know, we did play a lot of golf when you were a young man, and I know that you're going to play on Friday with some good friends of mine, and so I'm excited, and I'll be excited to hear what you have to say after you play this place.
Hi, I'm Wes Blevins, Director of Golf here at Eagle Crest Resort. Today's a big day for us here at the resort. We have a Roy E. Wilbanks ceremony. It's the dedication. His name will be forever put onto the clubhouse. We have all of the regents, all of his family, and over 200 guests. Again, this is something that he's done a lot for this facility, and he's well deserving of having his name put on the building.